Okay, good evening. Welcome to the May 10, 2022 Management Committee meeting. I appreciate all of you tuning in. I apologize. We're still working on the sound issues. I think we got them fixed for tonight, and we'll continue working to get them so we don't have these problems in the future. So myself and Steve Cundiff are remote, and Marty, JJ, and Julie are in the house, as is Andy. So we will get started. We have no speaking guests. And I guess there were some questions last week. Everyone is invited to attend the meeting. When we say invited guests, that means invited, they've requested to speak, or we've invited them to speak. Andy, are you ready for your general manager's report?
Sure am. I'll go ahead.
Right. Okay.
So general manager's report. This is my first report being new to Hideaway Hills, but I'm going to just kind of go through some bullet points in regards to some events that have been happening within the last 5 weeks. So maintenance and security, just a real shout out to our maintenance and security teams for their dedication and service to this community. They're behind the scenes and making this community safe and running like a well-oiled machine. Just be sure to thank them for their service. Current preventative maintenance projects, roads and culverts, the right-of-way trees along the roads, lodge electrical, which Marty's going to talk a little bit more about this evening, the microbrewery chiller, and the grease trap. The pool area is being prepped, clubhouse grease trap, and internet connectivity issues. And then the golf course maintenance team is performing the spring core aeration. It was done today and actually yesterday. No, today is Tuesday. So today and tomorrow. And Steve will probably talk more about that, as well as day-to-day golf course operations. And then we're also working on lakes and dams preventative maintenance. The lodge and clubhouse, a shout out to the lodge and clubhouse staff for working together to cover shifts and make events a special experience for our members. Be sure to thank them for their service as well. Update on the replacement of the T111 siding down at the shelter house. That is done in the gable area. I think it still has to be painted, but our maintenance team did that last week. Update on the security pickup. So the new pickup is off the rails and it's actually in Detroit now. And we should be seeing it delivered within the next couple of weeks. And then the current security pickup that I'm using to go around the community has been approved for the body shop work and will be going into the coming weeks for repairs. Update on the mule. Everything was signed and sealed and delivered on May 4th. This vehicle currently resides down at the maintenance shop. Big shout out to Steve Cundiff for his help in arranging and securing this vehicle. And then tree inspections. Tracking system I've created to date. I've done 12 inspections for our members, and they increase every day. The tracking system includes scheduling the inspection with the member, performing the tree inspection with or without the member present, and finally an email letter of approval. I believe it's my duty to best educate the member on tree risk and best practices in the industry. And so that's the information I have for general manager's report.
Any question for Andy?
No.
Okay. Miss Julie, would you like to, and I was going to discuss the capital and depreciation changes down below, but would you like to talk about the totals and the actual versus budget?
Yep. So as you can see, we have 488,322.41 in our capital fund and 431,596.93, and that would be as of this morning. So and like I said, we'll go, if you want, we'll go ahead and talk about the changes we've made down a little bit lower, but yep. The financials are in February over February 2021, our income was 78,000 better. That comes from mainly from assessments and new members. So the new member fee and assessments, And also restaurant income was up 12.3. Expenses were higher by 13.8, with the majority of that being 11.8 for the food and beverage. And then we had some higher payroll expenses, as well as the fuel's gone up. So, and then if we look at the February to budget, you had income up of 19.6, which the majority of that, again, was 17,000 for assessments and new members. And this is compared to the budget. This has been budgeted flatline, but we get a lot of people pay their assessment in January, February. So we will probably see this go away, so to speak. We're not, because we probably will not meet budget as we get further into the year. So since we didn't budget for the spike in January, February, we just had it flatlined across.
Year to date should be fine, but the monthly,
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay.
Just so we're not thinking we got an extra $17,000, because we probably don't. So anyway, and then their restaurant income was down about 4,000, but again, I believe a lot of that was due to what we had going on in February. So, you know, we had to be closed for a while, both the Clubhouse and the lodge, due to the storm that came through. We actually did a little bit better on expenses to our budget. Again, I think we went better by 4.4. About 6,000 of that was due to supplies. Again, we probably will spend that down later in the year. Some of the things that I think we need to take one, I want to mention payroll was up about 2,000, and that was, again, mostly due to security and snow removal and things, again, associated with the storm that came. So it's a payroll, and then fuel for year to date is up 2.5 thousand. So I think we need to probably take a look at that and just see if we need to maybe reforecast the fuel expense as well as utility expense, which is increased quite a bit from the budget. So those are a couple highlights there.
Very good. So Andy, can you talk with your teams, you know, basically maintenance and security and golf course, and you know, they have to spend money on fuel, and so if they can find another place to cut back, it would be helpful.
Yep.
And that would be good. Any other questions on the actual versus budget reporting for February and to date?
No. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Okay. Fund transfers, we did not get a report, and I'm not sure she's made any yet, so we'll have to check on that.
Rex, I got something that would have been through March.
Okay.
So I don't know what you want to go over there, but she has, we transfer into our capital fund 10% of the assessment. So that was about 16,000.
Okay.
In March. And so everything at this point has been transfers, and we're on target to meet the 2022 goals.
Oh, excellent. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay. Any financial questions right now for the group? Okay. We did not have any e-votes. I do not believe we have any expenditure requests, which is after last month. That's a nice thing. But did I miss anything from anybody?
No.
No.
Okay. Okay, so Julie has been working so we'll get into discussion items. Julie's been working really hard with Andy on the capital and depreciation spreadsheets. I did send those to you guys, and unfortunately I sent them a little late. What I wanted you to look at now, and Marty made a great suggestion, and Julie ran with it, but when you look at those up at the top of the sheet now, it's all right there in black and white. We have the balance as of the beginning of the year. We have the interest earned through the current time period. We have the purchases that have been made. We have the deposits that have come from the general fund, which gives us a new balance. Then we also track our committed funds, which are things that we've said we're going to buy, like the pickup, and the fairway mowers, but we haven't cut the check yet. And then any future deposits we're expecting, and then an estimated year-end balance, the balance floor. And so basically then we have a little bit for contingency funds. Did I explain that pretty good, Julie?
Yes.
And so this gives us a real up-to-date view of where we're at and where we're going. I think that's perfect. Now I am working with Andy and Rick, and I are going to meet and talk about the items that are on the depreciation list. We hope to get that done later this week, and I think there's a few things that can be knocked off, and there's a few things that might need to be moved up. But on the depreciation side, we are in really good shape. The capital side, I think we need to make some changes to how we budget for future capital expenses. And I'm going to do a report and get that out to the management committee here in the next week or so. I'm thinking what we need to do is track the next 3 years pretty tightly. But once we get beyond that, it's really hard to understand what capital expenses we're going to have. And so I'm thinking that what we have is a section for golf course, and then we will list and rank upcoming needs at the golf course, and we'll have the same thing for the lodge, and possibly the same thing for other infrastructure, the same thing for the lakes, so that we understand, and then we can work with the community. We can work with long range planning. We can work with maintenance and Andy, and as we get closer to the time when we need to do these things, then we can narrow them down and get tighter. I think if we do that, it's going to, I think it's just going to be a more easy way to track, and we can also adjust to changing things like electrical problems at the lodge. And so I know that's not overly clear. I think it will be when I start digging into it. Any questions or comments before we on these?
Rex, another thought I had is the depreciation, as you mentioned, and the capital depreciation. You need to know what's coming up 15 years down, just so you have it on your list.
Yeah.
But as you start reporting what those balances, it begins not to make any more, doesn't make sense. It looks like you're doing really well, but it's because you haven't purchased some things that are going to depreciate in the year 15. So I would almost recommend that you want to keep those listed, but let's not report out like the depreciation funding. I just think it doesn't tell the right story. So.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, so we might, I'd say five years on depreciation, and maybe you could probably do the same with capital.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind that the further years you're out, the less accurate it is at that point. So,
We have no idea what a pickup's going to cost in 2029.
right.
Do the auditors have a recommendation about how many years we have to go out?
I don't believe talking to, I don't know. I guess
Okay,
good
I'm
question.
just-
I talking to Penny, I don't even know they received this.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Because
think
that's
this is
one
pretty
thing
much
I
an
talked-
internal document
Just-
for us.
Yeah.
What I had to deal with before. I'm just.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I know Penny had said she thought it would be nice once we get it to a point we're comfortable with for them to maybe get that to them. So
You bet. Yep. And I do think, and I do have want to look at pretty close. I think we may be overfunding depreciation a little bit and underfunding capital. Again, as Julie says, as you get out, that's a little difficult to see. And I think it's too early to tell you if that's $10,000 a year or $50,000 a year, but we'll just have to kind of look at that and play with that as we go. The good thing is we can shift money back and forth from depreciation to capital. We also have a good, healthy balance floor that we want to keep for contingencies. And so I think we're in good shape. And I think we also need to remember we need to be careful that this money is for, the goal is not to have a big bank account. The goal is to spend money that makes the club better and makes our infrastructure better and provides an experience that our homeowners, our members need. So any questions or comments?
All good.
Okay. All right, I'll keep
I
going.
think the only
Yeah.
thing to keep in mind is just with our bricks and mortar, we've really got some serious expenditures coming up. I guess the realization of the electric situation having to be done, at the lodge, to me, has opened my eyes up to structurally what is the lodge like. We've been hashing the idea of maintenance is outgrown their lean-to structure that they have for a shop.
Yep.
Security, the first point that our visitors and members see is old, and a lot of this infrastructure is going to really take some financial backing here in the next few years to get some of these things updated and accomplished. And that along with the rolling stock, but bricks and mortar stuff, I mean, it's been around for a long time, and it's going to start showing us that we need to spend a little more on it to keep it.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we have, and it did not make the agenda, and that's my fault. And I'll just kind of add this in. Andy and Rick did notice some movement of the foundation at the clubhouse. We don't know if that movement's been there for a long time or if it's brand new. Andy is looking for a structural engineer to come in and take a look. So you're right, Steve. That may be something that catches us that we weren't aware of.
And I kind of add one of the things we did with the that Andy and I talked about, and we did with these the funding pages where you have the other potential items, plus we have that floor we want to keep at, which so that we put at the very bottom, we have a contingency. So if there were to be something that comes up, we still have room to, we have some room to move things around. So that was part of the purpose of kind of changing and putting that kind of front and center where we're at. So
yes, we are working to make sure that we can cover. Well, we wouldn't be able to cover another dam, but many problems we should be able to cover, and that's what we're trying to do. Okay. RFID. Got some background noise.
You said yours is 9:30? 9. We need to leave here by 9:45.
Let me see if I can mute them.
I'm trying to get on.
Marty's got it.
Okay, thank you. All right, let me get back to where I was. Okay, so on the RFID installation, guess what? We've never done this before, and I had to we had a few changes coming up after our communication to the membership. Nothing major. So the first thing is the front shelter house was booked, and they thought they were going to be using the entire parking lot. So that group that is doing installation that was listed at the shelter house will just move across the road to the area, the parking area for security, and that's going to go out in a communication pretty soon. I had some folks talk to me, and actually I thought about it a little bit, and originally our Sunday times to do the installation were 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. I believe it was. And I just, both talking to some folks and looking at that, I thought, that's better to be done at that same 10 a.m. to 2, even on Sunday, because people are wanting to get out to the lake. They're wanting to, and then the part-time folks are wanting to get home. So I did make that change in the membership communication. Again, we're going to put that out again as additional e-blasts, and that information will be in the Echo as well. We're getting good sign up on our installation sign up sheet. And I'd love to let the membership know that if you are interested in helping with the RFID decal installation, you can send myself an email, any of the management committee, or get with the office. We've got a sign up sheet on Google Sheets, and you can have you sign up and come out and meet your members and help us put decals on vehicles. So any questions on the schedule of the installation, the information that went out? Okay. We did have some folks come up with some special situations. Actually, we originally thought about motorcycles, and then it got dropped. There were motorcycles. There was some folks with UTVs that don't have windshields and still wanted RFID decals. So what we've done, we have ordered a set of I think 50, and we can get some more decals that would go on the outside of a vehicle or on a vehicle that does not have a windshield. So we've got that covered now. We have some other special situations that we need to be careful with. We need to discuss on folks that for whatever reason drive multiple vehicles into the hills and don't, and may only drive a vehicle once at a time or once every couple of days, and how do we get them in and out? The main reason for going to RFID is to know where every decal is and have a vehicle associated to every decal. So I'm
hold on a second, Rex. Just to clarify, we're not tracking where anybody is at.
No, we are not. No, but it's knowing where, not where every decal is driving. We know we know that every decal has a place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Could I ask everybody to mute if you're not out there? So whoever, like one or INPEF, please mute.
Thank you, Marty. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute.
And they're gone now.
They're gone.
Quicker than me.
Saw you coming after them.
Yeah, I get, it's knowing that you have something assigned, right? It really, and honestly, in those cases, and along with motorcycles and other vehicles, I don't see why we couldn't use something that was portable, kind of like on a card that you could just carry with you and use. and then it doesn't matter. Right? You know, so that's some option, and it kind of kills two birds with one stone. So for any UTV or motorcycle or anything like that, or any other circumstances where you need to have something portable, or say you wanted to give it to a family member and just had them come in, you know, then that's fine, because it's still going to be assigned to a member, you know, so you still have the same, you know, accountability, but you know, you give people flexibility on it.
How about if they start giving it to their random contractors?
Well, that's okay. I mean, they have it. You know, it's, if there's an issue with them, you know, we still have ways to deal with that. You know, this wasn't, there was
There's only a couple unique situations we need to look at on it. It's not a widespread thing.
Well, right, but I'll say that there really never was a good reason for the RFID anyhow, but that's just my opinion.
I appreciate your opinion, and I respectfully disagree, but that's good. I think that what we do is I'm not comfortable with portable RFID tags that are not affixed to a solid vehicle that can be used, just handed over to somebody. I'm just not comfortable with that. I think if we do that, Marty's correct, it was not worth the time and effort and energy and money. So that's my opinion. I want to hear from the rest of the management committee.
Well, let's talk about it and see how many situations we hear from prior to our installation dates. I think we need to get together and come up with a solution that's best for everybody, not limiting, handicapping any member from gaining access that we have told them that they would have. And I think we can handle these situations without too much delay on this thing, and understanding of what, you know, the members' needs are. I don't think it's that big of a deal to date. I think we've only heard a couple people that had unique situations, and I think we can work on those as a group and maintain our high level, increased security that we want, and not cause any special privileges given to anybody or situations that are not fair. So I think we can handle that. I don't know that we're going to decide that tonight. We need to get together and talk about it.
No, we probably aren't, but if you start creating that and doing one-off solutions for, you know, certain members, now all of a sudden you are giving them preferential or special treatment, right? So it's not something that's available to everyone then.
Again, we need to talk about it and see what's going on.
Well, that's kind of what we're here for, right?
Okay, so what do you want to talk about? Do you want to bring the situation up and vote on it tonight, Rex?
I think I presented a possible solution and something that's portable that people can, you know, they can use whatever vehicle they want, or they could, you know, they could give it to somebody else, right? You know, so it's an option.
I'm not comfortable with it, only just due to the fact of what I've had to deal with the Easy Pass. The different transponders went to different vehicles that weren't listed under the Easy Pass contract, and that became problems. And this doesn't equate totally here, but they went to different vehicles that had different issues via law enforcement, or a transponder from a passenger vehicle was used for a truck. Therefore, the truck got away with paying the passenger car rate. So there's all these little things that just transpired with trying to allow people a little leeway. But that's my opinion.
Julie, do you have an opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Rex, with what you're saying. I think if we allowed the portable, we're kind of going away from why we decided we wanted to go with the RFID. And does the other one, the thing you were saying that if you don't have a windshield, does that address some of the concerns we had?
It addresses anything with that anyone said they just didn't have a windshield. So you put it on the outside, but it's also, I mean, we know, so if we put it on the motorcycle or we put it on the UTV, it can't be removed. So, I mean, I guess someone could pull a fairing off a motorcycle and carry it around, but you know,
Right.
we can't stop everything, but it's been permanently affixed to a vehicle of some sort, and someone either from the management committee, the board of trustees supervised that, or security, and I think that's the best we can do. And I just do think that if we have portables out there, then we've got clickers out there, and we've got.
No, see, I disagree with that, because what's happened with the garage door opener, one, they're available on the open market. You buy a new car nowadays, you have a home link in it. It's programmable to any garage door opener, right? You could do that. So it's the technology of that has just been surpassed by what's available in the marketplace. With the RFID, you can't just walk out and buy a tag and have that tag entered into the system and be able to use it and be able to do that. We're talking, and you know, these are good points that everybody brought up, but the purpose of that tag in those cases was to collect money, right? And you're talking about government entities collecting money for tolls or other things like that. I mean, let's face it, it's Hideaway Hills, right? It's people's homes. You know, we don't need to have super strict restrictions on what you can and can't do with that entry on there. So if you have something that you could use, you know, to walk in, you could, you know, yeah, you could give it to somebody. You know, we're trusting the membership to do the right thing, right? Isn't that what we should do? To act responsibly with it, have the contractors come in and check in through the front gate, you know, follow the rules, right? I think that's just, you know, having people do that and giving them, you know, expecting them to do that is probably in my mind, is the right way to do it, because you allow that personal choice and you give them flexibility on things.
I don't think, just from talking with security, I really don't think that they would really appreciate that, because the whole thing is behind the RFID was that members could use the back gates. If they have a guest, the guest should use the front gate, so the front gate tracks everything. So having portables, you're taking away some of security's ability to see if strangers are coming and going.
Well,
I understand what you're saying. I don't disagree, but I'm just.
How many incidents do we have?
I don't know. I don't know, Marty.
People
I don't
coming
know.
in that are unauthorized. I haven't seen any incident reports that indicate we have an issue with that.
I don't know, and I don't know if it was written. I don't know if security, you know, keeps a total track of all that. I would hope that they would, but I don't know that for a fact. And there could be other ones where they found somebody and said, hey, you know, you're not supposed to be here, get out.
That could happen, but all the incident reports are in the office, and every
No,
member has the ability to
understand.
go look at them.
I understand that.
I've reviewed them a couple of years ago, and there were very, very few issues with that.
But with that being said, locks keep honest people out. And
yeah.
that's one of the things where we've told the membership that this is what we were going to do. We tried to do the best we can. Are there going to be circumstances that just don't fit within the box? Sure, it happens with everything. But these are things that, you know, if it's trying to do it for the majority, and you can never be 100% on anything. There's no perfectionism in an imperfect world. We're trying to do this. We looked at it. We blew it up a million times. This is really what we ended up doing and what we thought was. Now with these incidents coming up, is it really something that is something to change the rules or not? I've only heard of the one instance so far. Understood, but I don't think we should reinvent the wheel because of one issue.
We're not reinventing any wheel. We're just changing, we're modifying that plan for vehicles other than cars.
Well, it's one that we've worked on for
Yeah.
6 months, and that's what we came up with. And then someone else came in and said something different.
Yeah.
Understood. But, I think really having the portables just creates more issues than not.
Yeah, I don't see that, but.
We agree to disagree.
I'll vote against that again too, so if we don't,
It's all right.
not changing it, so.
Steve, do you have a comment?
Yeah, lots of them. So we know of one situation. So the only way we're going to solve this, or we're going to continue to discuss this, I guess I'm going to call for a motion and a vote. And on one particular situation, we have a member who has the opportunity or as part of his job to drive multiple vehicles, all of which are not titled or belong to him. He would like to continue the same access he has today, but with having different windshields on different vehicles. In this case, a member, I believe, should have still the same means of entering and exiting our location. So in the form of a motion, we need to look at certain cases, case by case in these situations, and make sure that we can accommodate our membership exactly the same, not giving them less than what everybody else has, and do it in a secure and reasonable manner. So there's my motion. Now we can bring it up to a vote and put this behind us and continue.
Steve, can I adjust your motion? And I think this is what you mean to say. And I'm not, and I mean, this is what you said, but I want to change it a little bit.
I'd be happy to listen.
Instead of us voting on this situation, how about we say the policy is to not, let's say we vote to say our policy is to not provide any type of portable RFID decal without a request to security approved by the management committee and the general manager.
I will so amend my motion to those. That's fine. I wasn't going to make the motion, but that was just my rambling. So yes, I think it is a case by case. It needs to be, I think, brought to the manager or to the general manager, to the office, and then it'll be reviewed by security and the management team to make a discussion on a case by case basis. It cannot go against what we have set up. But I do also see this individual's unique situation, and maybe he's not the only one. And I think he has the right to the same opportunity. So yes, let my motion be amended to reflect that we will take anybody's request to the office for a change in the permanently affixed to the windshield decal, which will be reviewed by security's input to the management committee and a decision made on a case-by-case basis.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
So we're gonna look at every case that comes in.
I think we've determined that there shouldn't be that many cases.
Security.
Well, you can't quantify that, but.
No, you can't, but
We'll have to wait and see.
we'll have to wait and see. But if it's important to a member and it fits into something that they have a good case for, then security and the general manager can look at it and make a recommendation, and that takes care of both things. It keeps again, it keeps the honest people honest, but that's what we need to do.
It's the right thing to do. We are here and charged with doing what is right for most. So I think that's one and one for all. I think we review them all, Marty, and yes, that's what we'll have to do if that's what the motion says. So yeah, we'll look at each one that makes sense.
All right. So we'll look at each one, and we may end up allowing that member to have a portable tag.
Yes.
Is that
Not
true?
saying a
Agreed
portable
upon
tag
by
at this
security.
time. We're going to come up with a solution for that. Not saying it's a portable tag. It was not part of the motion.
It could be a portable tag.
Probably would be, I would think.
Okay, all right, I can agree with that.
Okay, hopefully we, I don't have that. We'll have to go back through the recording and double check we get it, but I know exactly what. So the vote is that any type of a decal will not be given to a member without placing it on a vehicle unless they make a request through security for such a decal. That request will be reviewed by security, the general manager, and the management committee.
Yes.
And it may or may not be approved. So we've got that. That's the motion. It's been seconded. We've had discussion. Is there any more discussion? Okay, all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, so Andy, when those come in, those should come into security. If someone calls Penny or you, we can take that. It'll go to security for their review, for your review, and then if it needs to come to the management committee, we will. Well, it should come to the management committee, and we will
Yes.
work through it. Yes.
Understood.
Okay. That was good work, guys. Thank you. That was good work. I'm going to keep going here. I'm taking up most of the meeting. 2022 road maintenance plan. So Rick and Andy and myself drove the roads 2 weeks ago, and kind of looking at what we have. The roads that have been chip sealed the last 2 years are in pretty good shape, especially last year's came out very well through the winter. I was very happy. We've got a couple little potholes here and there, but for the most part, we're in good shape. If you remember, through our road plan, we concentrate on first getting our main lines, basically our loops around the lake and from gate to gate that receive the most traffic. We concentrate on those first. We did not, so we've chip sealed most of those except for in the north, I guess northwest and northeast section, coming around from Taos, I believe it is. It's Wolverine. It turns into Wolverine, comes around the north end of the lake, connects up to, goes along the east edge there, and then connects into Taos going up to the Clubhouse. We did not chip seal that. It needs quite a bit of work. It's not ready for chip seal. We've got several other roads that are not ready for chip seal. We have to do some pothole repair. We need to do edge repair and get some structure back in that. So what we'd like to do, the three of us looked at the roads, and what we would like to do for 2022 is we have roughly $150,000 budget. We'll see exactly what comes in and what we had left, but somewhere between 150 and 170. We would like to not do chip seal in 2022. We would like to have the maintenance crew do hot mix patching, both pothole patching, minor leveling of alligatored areas, and then edge repair, getting our widths of our roads put back. We would like to do that internally and spend somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000 on that mix. And then we would like to spend, and again, we'll see how that breaks out. And then we would like to spend $50,000 to $75,000 on, we've got a quote from McKee Paving to do 1.5 to 1 inch overlay on certain areas. A lot of that's going to be on these areas where we just don't have enough structure right now to use chip seal. There's a lot of those areas along the Wolverine area. There's areas back in the neighborhoods. And so we'd like to do a combination of those two things to build up some more roads so that we can get back to chip sealing next year. And I just got the quote from McKee while I was traveling, and I did not have time to go through it and put it out for a vote. And I don't expect that we would do his work until September. So I'd like to bring that quote to the committee in the June meeting for approval. But I wanted to get your all's opinion of kind of what we're looking at doing, and if that meets your needs. I did also want to say that Rick and his team have built a drag box that can be used to make that edge repair go smoother, easier, and look better. And then also part of this money, we're going to rent a traditional asphalt roller, a smaller roller that can be used, so we have some better looking patches and they last longer. And we may also probably will also rent a plate compactor as well. Those rent for I think the roller rents for $1,180 a month, so it's not a big expense. So any questions or comments on that?
I think it's a good plan. I would stress that I believe that the golf course is planned on, or has been talking with McKee about the cart path. So we should definitely coordinate that so that any mobilization charges are minimized there, and we can be a little more efficient on the money and the timing.
I believe that McKee had mentioned that they were going to start potentially in mid to late May on the golf.
Yeah, that's the only problem with that, Marty, is that we need to get some pothole repairs done, even on roads that we're going to overlay. I'll also tell you that Mr. McKee has been anyway, the quote's quite good.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a member, and we appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yeah, we sure do.
I'm thinking of his costs too, right?
Sure.
That. And I guess that just kind of it highlights one of the big issues that we kind of have with all the committees, that there's no good vehicle to coordinate all these activities on projects. Yeah. So that we can take advantage of these things. Yeah. There's a lot of good projects that are planned that are going to go on, but there's other things that can happen and use the same resources that we really should drive to consolidate that.
I agree.
Okay.
Pothole repair, thumbs up. We got a lot of them. We need to get on those because they're going to turn into deeper, worse as summer traffic picks up down here. And yeah, I think that's spot on. Of course, you and I've already talked, and I've talked with Rick too. It's well recognized by any member that goes out for their Sunday afternoon drive that we are steering around several more potholes than what we're used to.
It was a tough winter.
It seemed to be.
So
good plan.
Okay, so I'll come with you, or come to you next meeting with the quote on the hot mix, and Rick will have started his patching, and we'll get an idea. It's it's a little unclear how much he can do in a month or in a week, and so we'll kind of have a better idea in June, I think, and that'll give us an idea. Do we do more of his repair and a little less of McKee's? We have a minimum for McKee, but we can add to it as much as we need. So we'll see in the next couple of months how we really want to split up that money to internal and external work. Andy, if you want to make sure that Rick understands that, if he needs help going back to United Rentals and looking for that roller or for that compactor, to give me a call. But it's fine to rent that stuff because it'll be much better for it'll make better quality patches and they'll last longer. But also, I mean, if he knows he's going to not be able to patch for 3 weeks, there's no sense renting it. So
right.
Yeah.
And we can coordinate that.
Great. Okay. All right, golf course update. Steve, do you have any updates for
Well, yes, I got a couple items. So core aeration, again, thankfully we had a lot of rain, which is good for the course. I was concerned that it wasn't going to allow us to start coring today, but I just verified that they are. No issues, no problems going with that. Just again, thank membership for being patient with us through this process. This is not by any means a sprint. This is a marathon at the golf course, and the improvements we're going to put into play were not planned to be done in May. This was our last open week to do this. It's really late, but it's going to really serve a great purpose on the draining of our greens and the overall health of our greens through fertility, changing out the materials, getting water away, being able to increase our nutrients in the soil on the greens, which is going to resist the disease. It's going to be an all-around win. But guys playing in the next couple of days, men's league, I think they'll be fine. They'll be done, but don't expect the greens to be perfect tomorrow evening. But let's look at them in a month, and I think we're going to see a plus on that. So it's good work.
They'll be perfect.
Well, you may have a little more challenge to your putting. I mean, they are plugging, they're taking dirt away, they're refilling holes, and he is rolling things out, but it's not going to be a perfect situation. But long-term, it's going to be super. It's not going to affect your putting, Marty.
Yeah, but in mid-June, things are going to be perfect. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, there's a couple secret lines that I had them put in just for me that no matter how bad I hit it, you're going to hit those little bumps and it's always going to go in the holes. So,
all right.
Second piece, which kind of falls along on the paving thing. Are you still with me? I kind of dropped my earbud here. I got all excited about dirt plugs.
No, we got you.
So we're talking about cart path paving here. And another issue is come up. I met with Eric and Elmer, and we talked about the cart path repairs. And another situation has come up. So those that are familiar with the course, up near the golf maintenance building, hole number 4. So there's a cart path that runs down at the low side of the hill and runs right along at the back edge of property lines back in there. This is a main thoroughfare where the mowers go through to get to the front half of the golf course. The cart paths are in pretty poor shape right there. They're maybe 4 foot wide and in dire need of repair. They not only need to be repaired, but they need to be widened, as we have mowers that have a 7 foot width on them. They've got to drive so they don't hit the trees on the tree line. So they have to be off of that cart path. And when it's wet, we're getting some I guess rutting on the side of those cart paths. So oh, excuse me, I just got a note that it's actually 3, not 4. I'm sorry, Eric. They don't know what I'm talking about anyways. No. But what I'm coming to is the cart path in the golf committee is actually footing the bill for the new cart path. What I talked to him in discussion here that I would bring it to our meeting tonight to see, again, we need to get an actual sound price on this, but to upgrade that as part of what we should do as far as maintaining our property as the management committee, since it is a vital route for our maintenance equipment on the golf course to travel in that area. So don't have an exact dollar, but I wanted to bring it up tonight and see if I could get you guys support on this. I don't think it'll be but a few $100s, but I'm not sure until we get something back. And I don't see another text coming that we have that yet. So we need to get a bid on that. And hopefully something we can work in with the cart path install.
I'm a little confused on what you're talking about paving.
You're a little confused. So you know the little cart path on the right where we're putting in the new fairway? No, on hole number 3.
On hole 3, yeah.
Okay, the cart path that runs down at the bottom of the hill and runs around to the corner, around to the right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Like
it's
Jimmy
that cart
Wood's
path-
house.
It's that cart path that runs along that edge right there.
Oh, so you just want to widen that section along the woods there?
Exactly. It's just going to be repairing and widening what
Okay,
is already there is basically what it is.
okay.
And since it's part of our infrastructure, I think it is definitely something with the golf committee using their amenity funds to do the rest of it. I think while we have somebody here, as we talk about projects and making the most bang for their buck, and if we can get McKees to give us a bid on that and be able to do that while he's there putting in the new cart path, I think it would be money well spent. And we're also looking at maybe widening some of the areas. Elmer's looked, we're going to look some more at some of the corners that as golfers, we tend to shortcut anyways. And maybe looking at, we cannot put just loose gravel in, but there's potential for maybe digging out areas and then putting in packing gravel, berming gravel, so that it can be packed down in a hard surface, but eliminating these shortcut corners that we're using here now. But then again, the gravel side of that will be minimal. It'll be more of a time consuming thing, but that is a process that we'll look at as summer's going on, and maybe even edging the side of a lot more of the other cart paths so we can maintain the edges of those cart paths, just like we are concerned with maintaining the edging on our roadways.
Steve,
So just for consideration, that's what I'm asking for tonight.
Sure.
I do not have a dollar figure for you.
Okay, well, I think Steve, and I think you're probably right that we're talking, especially if we do it at the same time as the cart path, that we're talking less than our $5,000 limit for our general manager to spend, and as long as we have some room in the golf course budget to handle another $1,000 of asphalt or whatever it turns out to be, if it's in that range, I think we can just do it. If you find out it is quite a bit more than that, then maybe we should come back, or we can call and have a vote if we need to have it done before the next meeting. But sounds to me, if it's not wide enough for our equipment, and that's the main thoroughfare, it needs to be done. And you're right, that is infrastructure, not, I mean, we're tearing stuff up because we're doing our job.
Steve,
That's the point.
Who's taking the lead on that, getting that price from McKee?
Well, so see, here's the next problem. So I would like for you to become involved in that process.
Sure.
Right now, this is a committee issue. And again, the legwork's done. I would have you contact probably Eric Boysko as the chair of the golf committee, find out what he knows for sure right here off the front. I would think Rick and Elmer could be good points of contact there also. But I think, it's one of these projects that we've talked about too from the committees that we got to start getting more involved in, to Marty's point earlier. So I would like you to kind of be the point on it. I have been in and out of the conversations, but only for the planning stage, to roll this over to you guys on the management side, the day-to-day management. So
Understood. Can do that.
just roll us in the loop and keep us up to date on what's going on.
All right,
And
sounds good.
then we can see what happens.
Good. Any other questions on the golf course for Steve, or comments? Great, thank you. Thank you very much. Marty, can you give us an update on the lodge electrical repairs?
Yeah, you bet. So if we remember back to last meeting, we approved several proposals from Area Electric out there, and they've started to work on that. Physical work was occurring in the lodge down in the basement area. They've been out here a couple days a week over the last few weeks, and are making some good progress on it. And the goal of that was to correct any of the very, imminent issues that we needed to do that, required the most attention. The other parts of that are to go ahead and do the engineering work for the update for the overall service to the building. That's proceeding. Part of that and the deliverable of that is going to be the budget for the installation on it, along with the equipment. saying that, there are some pieces of equipment that we will have to get on order pretty soon, because they have lead times of upwards of 40 weeks. So we're, kind of pushing to the end of the year. So that's kind of it. I did see the preliminary plans last week. They're coming along. Things, I think Andy was there. We did have a meeting up here with South Central. So their folks were here. Andy was here, Rick, and Jim Schmidt. We talked through the scope and the conversion of the system from the existing transformers to the two new transformers. So there'll be the transformer for the lodge. There'll also be a separate transformer for the pool. That'll be a separate feed. Along with that, we also talked about the trash compactor that's up in this area. So all that's it's all in motion. We're looking at on when to get things, but it's probably, we're still several months out, not more than several, but a lot out before we actually get there.
Sure.
One of the other great things that South Central is doing on this too, are they're going to go ahead and remove and take care of the existing transformers up by the lodge. They're gonna take care of that. They'll probably take care and pull off the overhead wiring as well. So that'll go away. One thing, if we can get a hold of Spectrum or Frontier, whoever else has stuff hanging on those poles, if we can get rid of that, then we can just get rid of those poles altogether up there.
And I've reached out to Spectrum already.
Awesome.
They said they're aware of the project.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what that means, but
Yeah. So I mean, that would be great, because it'll clean up the sight lines up here. And then the other part of that is that there's a transformer bank that sits down where the base of the old rope tow was, down by the Lake Ski. And so South Central is also going to be removing that and hauling that off site as well. So that's a great thing.
Yes, it is.
Those removing those transformers is an awesome thing. So that's kind of it. Any questions on it?
Well, excellent report, and thank you that's a complicated project. I'm glad you're on it. So are you saying that we may need to approve and order some equipment before we have the full understanding, just of the final, just so we can get that equipment coming in 40 weeks? Or
yeah,
okay.
there's in particular, the big piece is going to be the new main panel. The engineering will be complete enough to have that design done.
Okay.
So that's not, there's not going to be any risk with that.
Good. All right.
And it should be a pretty standard piece of equipment. But again, lead times on that type of stuff are just 3 times what they used to be.
Yep.
So
okay. All right. Well, we'll be prepared to see that come through and get it approved.
Okay.
Any other questions on the lodge and pool electrical?
I will say one other thing on that too, is that part of the design is we're looking at installing some provisions for the ability to more easily add a generator out there to cover the lodge. So, we're looking at an automatic transfer switch to do all that.
Yeah.
we're happy with the progress so far with Area Electric.
All right, good.
Good.
Yeah, it's been going good. They've been here on Thursdays and Fridays, just about every day, and taking care of the circuits that that we don't know where they go to, and so forth. So it's been a good project.
Good. Okay. All right. Next thing, just real quick, the folks, there's been some great work over at the beach. We had a member, and I apologize, I meant to get it in my notes and I didn't. We had a member donate sand for us. If one of you has that name, I'd love you to give them a shout out. Thank you very much for that donation. And that's been spread. I have asked that Andy make sure they think that they will need that refreshed in 2024. And I think that we need to make sure that we have operational funds to do that. That's kind of like, just like Steve said on the cart path. That's not, I mean, to have a beach, you got to have sand, and it's not like we're ordering pink sand from Cabo San Lucas or something. We're ordering local sand. So, but I definitely appreciate the member helping out with that. They are also working on, they're trying to come up with a way to keep geese from doing their thing on that sand. They've had some temporary reflectors like Miss Julie showed us a few months ago, and they're working, but they're kind of ugly. They have another plan to do something more permanent. Andy, did you get that email yesterday? And I know you and Rick have a lot going on, but if you could look at their proposal and just make sure that it's not going to affect anything that maintenance does, or that, you know, there isn't a safety issue or something that they're not thinking about.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and look at it. I haven't looked at it yet.
Basically what they'd like to do, and I think Rick needs to go look at it with somebody, but they'd like to put some permanent posts up and then permanent reflector rope that can be removed during the day and put up in the evenings, so that it looks better and it's just more professional. So, but if it keeps the geese off and keeps the little kids from playing around in goose poop, I think it's a good thing. Questions or comments on that?
Just to comment on the geese, we have little geese now. Eggs hatching or coming out, little geese running around. I know members want to go out there and clap their hands and shoo and help with this situation. I just be careful. Mother geese are a little aggressive, so more so than they are at any other time. So and at this point in time, we cannot do anything with them until they get done with their hatch, and in a period of time after that, then we can start our process again as hopefully our paperwork comes in. Have you seen anything on that, on Andy?
No, not yet. I have not seen it yet.
All right, we got to make a call on that.
We need the foxes to do their thing.
Yeah, we just need the natural cycle of life to take place, right?
Yep. Okay, JJ, I've kind of got you 3 sections here. Food service.
Food service and Clubhouse we'll put together, because pretty much
I
same report. Brewery I'll talk about after.
Okay.
But as the email blast stated, the Clubhouse hours on Thursday the 12th, Friday the 13th, and Saturday the 14th, the Clubhouse will open at 11. And on the Tuesday the 17th, it'll open at 3 p.m. This is just due to some staffing. It's only a temporary thing. This isn't going to be permanent, but it has to be done just due to the fact of the number of people that we have. We have some people being trained, so hopefully this is just an isolated incident. With the lodge, we have 2 people coming back that were in school, so that's going to help us there. And we do have a new hostess named Abby. So when you come to the lodge, you may see her. She'll seat you. And she'll also help with the takeout orders, answering the phone for takeout orders, and if there is necessary for reservations. So next time at the lodge, you can introduce yourself to Abby. With the food services, we're looking at a bunch of different things that we hope to get done and approved before the Board of Trustees. There's a couple different dinners we're looking at. There's a couple events, and we're looking to do some minor changes in the lodge that it's not going to be a major change, but hopefully it'll be notable. We do have 3 designers on the food service committee, so we are working with the professionals. So that's a good thing. Other than that, once we get the approval from the Board of Trustees, I can probably make more announcements and give some dates. The chiller. The chiller is a piece of equipment in the brewery that has Band-Aids all over it. It's old. It's been in need of repair. It just went down this last Friday. There's lager in the fermenter. It's okay. The temperature is at 55 degrees, so that's really not going to hurt anything, but it's not the best temperature to keg the lager. Andy, did anybody come back?
Yeah.
Come out?
So
Okay.
nobody came out. We had, Rick reset it, and it was reading the temperature. It was chilling.
Okay.
And I did talk to Scott yesterday,
Okay.
and he said everything is good. So we believe it was the contactors,
Okay.
but we can go ahead and have our HVAC come out and take a look at it, even if we want to look into getting a newer one, because I know that is pretty ancient.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a newer one, I priced out one that would be good for our brewery. And even if we made any changes, it would still be good. We budgeted 8,500, and surprisingly, the number that I got was 8,500, but that's not counting tax and delivery. Now, the thing is, with this one being $8,500, it's a very good one, and we have to have a better one than probably the normal brewery due to the fact that we don't have somebody there all day or every day even. So this one has a couple bells and whistles that will help protect if for some reason the chiller goes down. Hopefully it won't, just due to new technology. But if it does go down, it'll be a minor thing, and it won't be something that will really hurt the brew itself or the brew process.
This is brand new.
Yes,
Okay.
brand new. So with that being said, I guess the new purchase would be closer to $9,000. Is this something that we want to vote on now or have Exact come in and see what they know? Or this was recommended by somebody in the profession?
Right. I guess my question to that is the availability of this new chiller.
Mhm.
Is it something that is readily available? Or we have to wait like we are
Nope.
with other equipment? And stuff?
It's in stock and it'll be shipped from Minnesota.
Okay. I would be in the opinion of getting a newer one rather than band-aiding this older one that we have. Like again, I said Rick was able to get it up and running and it's maintained its temperature.
Okay.
But that's not to say that, tomorrow it'll go out.
Right.
So
Okay, if that's the case, do we go for a not to exceed 9,000? Or do we want to wait until I get the total number and possibly do an e-vote by management?
I think we should up that number because we got to get rid of the old one.
True, there's Freon and stuff like that. Yeah, there is.
I'm cool with the not to exceed, but I think that not to exceed should probably, it should probably be like around 15 grand.
I don't think it's going to be that much to remove the other one, but.
Yeah, but you know what, if we don't spend it, we don't spend it.
Okay, and the 15 is our limit.
Yeah. And, plus we haven't seen the quote on it.
Mhm.
We have, what's the electric service required for it?
That was the other thing. A lot of the ones that were cheaper than this one, we're looking at 460 as opposed to the 208, 220. So, if we went that route, what we would say we'd have to probably pay in redoing the panels out there.
We'd have to buy a transformer. too.
Yeah.
So,
All right, then if everybody's okay, we'll do a not to exceed number of 15,000. As soon as I get the final number, I'll send it out to management and Andy, and we can just do an e-vote that way.
Can you forward the specs on it?
Oh, yeah.
The cut sheet on it or whatever?
Yeah, this is just the brief one that I took, but they can send me a better sheet, because this one was like all spread out,
Okay, or just send like a link to it.
Yeah,
That's
well,
fine,
I think there's a manual that I can actually download and send it.
JJ, can I ask a question? Where are we from a long-term standpoint with the microbrewery? I know there was some talk about,
Scott has said, last time talking with him, said he wasn't looking to leave. And I've heard that he is and that he was going to sell his place, but What he told me is he was going to stick around. The only thing is, in talking with different members, they would like more of a variety. And it's hard to do a variety with it's a 10-barrel system. So making the 10 barrels, putting it through the system, getting in the fermenter, you have to really keg it before you can start the next beer. That leads with the ability to keg the beer. I've donated a bunch of kegs where we're getting closer to have the ability to brew and keg the whole fermenter. But then when we have the next one coming in, it's a shorter time, or it's a longer time period because we have to have the empty kegs. And if it's a different brew, we clean them and everything like that. So there's a lot of different things that are going on. One of the things that I started to look at was getting a smaller system, a 3-barrel system, whereas you can do smaller batches of beer, but more types of beer. And then have the ability to keg those in a period of time where you can rotate them through that way. But that's something that until I get some good numbers, I don't think it's even something that I would like to present until I get some numbers. We could sell our old system. And it's worth a nice chunk of change. And it would probably cover the costs of a 3-barrel with the 3 different fermenters.
With that chiller though, would it
The
be?
chiller will be fine for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I already looked into that too. The chiller will be no problem with that.
Just thinking a return.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, no, that's not going to hurt if we switched out or anything like that.
Okay.
All right.
Good questions.
So someone going to
Hey,
make the
JJ.
motion? Yeah.
If you would send that information out to all of us, so
Oh, yeah.
I guess
Yeah, I
I'm
will.
interested. So yeah, I just want to know more about it. So is this, how does it work? I mean, it's not like it runs the beer through a cooler and puts it back in there. Is this actually like a coil system that cools it, or what exactly?
No,
is it?
no, it actually what's the best way to describe it? It chills the fermenter, not the beer. Okay, so the beer is already in the fermenter, and the chiller chills it in there, in the fermenter itself. Keeps it cool.
Okay, I still don't know, but I appreciate you saying that. If you would, yeah, just share that with us so I can have.
I can probably, well, I'll send you all the information and you guys can see it, and then you can, ask questions from there.
Yes, please.
All right.
Perfecto.
We need a motion.
Sure. I'll make a motion that we have a not to exceed $15K for a new chiller, and JJ's going to grab the rest of the info, and we'll get firm pricing on everything and go from there.
Second.
Okay, we've got a movement to not to exceed 15,000 for a chiller. I do want to add, doesn't need to be in the motion, but most of this is budgeted and it's in the depreciation fund.
Mhm.
And I think, like I say, I don't think it's going to go clear to 15, but I think that's a good plan. So we've got a motion and a second. Do we have any more discussion? All in favor of saving the beer, signify by saying aye.
Double I.
Any opposed? Okay. Good. All right. Thank you. Yeah, let us know, JJ, when you get all that. And I appreciate all your work, not only on the beer, but also on the food service and thank you. Okay. Boy, I think that cleared through the open portion of the meeting, and I'm not even sure we have much in executive session. But does anyone have anything that I missed or that they'd like to add?
I'd like to add one thing as far as our discussion items. So with all these different projects that we're doing and getting under one platform as far as project management is concerned, I think that's a great idea, Marty, because there's a lot of projects going on right now, and trying to keep track of them all can sometimes be a little overwhelming, but I think we can do it and keep everybody collaborating on this, on the same page, on the same dashboard. So I've got some ideas that I'll share with the committee.
I have one thing, just real quick. I wanted to quick update on the fitness center. It's open. It's been a great success. So good that we are currently out of key fobs that are on back order. So anyone out there that looking for key fobs, is they're anticipated to be here the first week in June. So
That's great. Build it and they will come. Okay. Then I believe that we will adjourn the open portion of the meeting. We'll go into executive session, and like I say, I don't think we have anything other than a quick report. And so for the folks tuning in, if you would please, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of your club. But if you could now kind of click out and let us do our executive session, we'd appreciate it. Thank you all very much.